Hello, welcome my friends once again to the Better Eurofan, that's me. For today's episode I'm going to review the Finnish entry for Eurovision 2022, which has been represented by mythical rock band Rasmus with the song Jezebel. Finland is staying true to its rock essence in Eurovision, which has given very good results over the last few years. And last year's contest was not the exception, with the 6th place gained by the rock band Blind Channel. Let's take a look on who took the task to represent the Nordic country this year in touring. The Rasmus, as many already know, is a Finnish alternative rock group. During their beginnings, they used the name of Rasmus, but later they decided to change their name to the Rasmus to avoid confusions with a renowned Swedish DJ that was using the same name in that time. They have an extensive musical career starting in 1994, with the group being formed during their high school years. The first 2 studio albums were oriented to funk rock, gaining recognition very quickly in their native country, to the point that they decided to quit school to focus fully on their musical project. Then, in their 3rd album, they changed the musical style to a more solid rock, having achieved a modest success in the Finnish musical scene. The band wanted more. They were looking to develop their career beyond their home country. In that ambition, they signed a record deal with the newly created Swedish independent label Playground Music in the late 90s to help them in their new goal. For them, it was like starting from scratch, as they did a lot of things that were new to them. Changed their musical style to pop rock, with spending a lot of time working on their songs before recording. Worked with music producers and recorded a studio album outside of Finland. All that hard work come to fruition in their 4th album, with the band starting to get noticed in many countries around Europe. From here, there is an important turning point, which will mean their consolidation as a band. It was 2003. They were releasing their 5th studio album, Dead Letters, in which the track In the Shadows was chosen as the lead single to promote the album. The result, it was a huge global success, topping the ranks of the charts of many countries around the world, winning several music awards, and they scheduling their first world tour. For me personally, it's a very pleasant memory, as it's one of my favorite rock bands since my college days, and I remember to get to know them with this song. In the following studio albums, they talk about more mature subjects in their songs, and they experiment with many rock subgenres, like hard rock, gothic rock, and symphonic rock as the most outstanding ones in their recent musical work. After the last album released in 2017, they went on an extensive world tour for the 50th anniversary of the release of their most successful album to date, Dead Letters. Then later, there was a pretty big halt because of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Although they do not stop from creating new music, the band has suffered some changes in its formation throughout the years. Actually, it's formed by lead singer Lauri Ilonen, bassist Iiro Heinonen, drummer Aki Hakala, and guitarist Emilia Eppu Suhonen, with her the last one joining the band this year, after their original guitarist and founder member Pauli Rantasalmi left the band for personal reasons. At this point, it comes to attention significantly how is that as such a successful band with sold-out concerts in stadiums all over the world gets involved in a contest like Eurovision. Stay alert as I'm going to explain it in full detail. The Finnish public broadcaster, following the trend of previous years, organized the 11th edition of Uuden musiikin kilpailu, in English translates as Contest for New Music, the national final used to select the Finnish representative for the contest. Last September, they opened a short submission period for the reception of entries, which will be chosen by an expert panel of juries from the world of music and television in Finland. It's quite surprising that from 312 entries received, a totally impressive record, only 7 were selected, and among them it was the entry sent by the Rasmus. When the list of the 7 contestants were announced in mid-January, the shock went viral after knowing they were going to participate in the show. I was amazed when I knew it, I had to say, having a reaction like this. I can't believe it! Rasmus competed for Eurovision, yeah! I must admit it brings back memories of my college years, listening to them as part of my live soundtrack, and I was excited to see them representing Finland in the contest. In fact, they became the big favorite to win the national final, without taking away any merit to the rest of participating artists, which also had really strong entries. So anything could happen. The televised show took place in late February, in which the winner will be decided with a combination of a public vote and an international jury, distributed in weights of 75% and 25% respectively. After the performances of all the participating artists, it was confirmed through the voting results that Rasmus was the absolute favorite from both the televote and international jury, fulfilling the initial predictions, declaring them the winners of the national final and gaining the ticket to represent Finland on the stage of Turin. This is undoubtedly another great sub in the large list of musical hits. Here comes the analysis according to what they have presented in their official music video. The melody in this case is a symphonic rock track, the genre chosen for this song. It's undeniable that this musical style and composition is very recognizable. You listen to the song and you know it's the Rasmus. In particular, this melodic structure reminds me a lot to their previous work in the Black Roses album, and much more being composed by Laurie and well-renowned American music producer Desmond Child, who made the production of the album in fact. In the same way, it's easy to identify a song from the Rasmus, listening to Laurie's distinctive and powerful voice, which is another of the dance's distinguishing features. Although the song's title is referred to the Israeli queen Jezebel, which is cited in both Christian and Jewish Bibles, the lyrics do not depict her at all, using just a name for the main character of the song. In this case, the lyrics talks about a rebellious, defiant and independent woman. In fact, some people think it's a projection as a homage to Emilia, the band's new guitarist, taking into account that it's the first song they performed with her. About the message transmitted with the song, Laurie explains it this way. It's about a girl who takes what she wants without asking, a free spirit. Jezebel is a homage, a tribute to the strong women of today, who own their bodies, who are in charge of their sensuality, their sexuality, and who are determined to be an equal. You can gather from this explanation that the song is a feminist anthem. Moving forward to the analysis of the official music video, here I must remark there are two official versions. In the Eurovision's official YouTube channel, the lyric video released during the Finnish national final is used as the official music video, but the real one is the one released by the band in their official YouTube channel, who has a quite explicit blog, and it's the one I'm going to analyze. In the beginning of the music video, a garage with musical instruments are seen in the first shots. Iro and Aki appear there, starting to play their instruments, and the song begins. There are shots with Laurie in a room full of candles, laying naked and tied up in bed, like being crucified. It's literally mentioned in the first verse. There are also shots with Emilia, which is in another room. It's not clear if it's the same place, but it doesn't matter too much, portraying her rebellious and dangerous attitude. Like Jezebel, using different outfits trying to show different sides of her, having fun with herself and projecting self-confidence. In the second verse, Laurie is seen going downstairs to a kind of basement in a mansion, while many people wearing black capes are going upstairs. It's a little intriguing, as it's not clear what is Laurie exactly going to do there, until he is seen with Iro and Aki tied up in chairs in the center of the basement, while a group of people wearing black capes and animal masks are surrounding them. There are also candles seen on the floor, so it looks like they were doing a sort of forbidden ritual or something with them. Those instances are alternated with shots of all the members of the band performing the song in the garage scene in the beginning. Before the final chorus, there is a short break where Emilia comes in to grab her guitar, connecting the cable from the amplifier to resume the performance with higher intensity. It's not quite clear which were the intentions of those masked people, approaching to them very often while they were still tied up, but I guess that will remain left to the viewer's free interpretation. Towards the end of the music video, Emilia appears in the room where Laurie is still tied up in the bed with a huge bolt cutter. You can understand at this point that Laurie and Emilia have a sadomasochistic relationship in the video, with she as a dominatrix and he as the submissive. Just then, in the final shot, the bed appears empty with the bolt cutter and chains on the bed. It's clear that Emilia got the chains to free Laurie and going with him somewhere else. Making a summary of all the comments, the finished entry for this year is fantastic. It's clear why they are still one of the most successful bands in the world, but it's fair to wonder, it will be enough to convince the European audience? Recalling the staging at the Finnish national final, it was quite simple but striking at the same time. There are the 4 members on the stage, wearing outfits with yellow and black tones, performing their song with their characteristic energy and charisma. In the visual graphics scene, there were falling stars and a cartoon of Emilia playing the guitar, which appears every time the name of Jezebel is mentioned for the chorus. During the bridge and the final chorus, the performance gets more intense. The outfit Laurie is wearing is stripped from the back, stained with bare torso, and the spotlights in yellow tones are remarkable, while cartoons of the rest of the members of the band were seen on the screen. With all this seen, it was quite clear that the performance was pretty well concrete towards the contest. While for the staging and touring, it could be seen during the rehearsals a few changes in the outfits they wore in the national final, keeping the contrast with yellow and black. In fact, they look like rock bees, as well as a good amount of black balloons on the stage. I was wondering when I saw this, what were those balloons doing there and what did it have to do with the song? And I'm sure I wasn't the only one. Then the visual graphics they have in the national final were completely absent in this case. Black background in most of the song and yellow background in the final chorus. This was due subsequently with the failure with the stage design. It was supposed there was going to be a kinetic sun in the center of the stage, but it ended static because the motion engines were not working well, covering more than half of the stage screen. So probably they had decided to discard them, unable to show them properly. And they were not the only affected ones, as many delegations from other participating countries had to make last-minute changes to their performances after months of hard work for the staging. Despite all that, they did not disappoint after watching their live performance in the second semi-final, in charge of opening the show if that were not enough. After qualifying to the grand final, the voting results led to a tie between Finland and Czech Republic in the 21st place, but as Finland received much points from the televote, they assured that place in the final qualification. Maybe they could not repeat the same fate like last year, but however, they felt satisfied with their performance in the contest. In fact, it was like a big comeback to the world's big stages for them, and was also the chance to be discovered by lifetime fans and discovered by others. They have commented in many interviews. They have decided to participate after the cancellation of their tours and concerts during the COVID-19 pandemic to try something new and strengthen bonds between the members of the band. The Eurovision adventure, however, is just the beginning of a new chapter in their musical career, as they have announced the release of their 10th studio album on next September, named Rise, which will include among the tracks singles previously released last year, the song which they have participated in the contest, and the single that gives title to the new album, which has been released a few weeks ago. It's also known that the album has been produced by Desmond Child, following the collaboration and work of the producer with the band. So it's deducted that it's going to be the sequel of the Black Roses album. And just after the release, they will go on a European tour to promote the new album, with dates until the end of the year so far. And you, what do you think about the Finnish entry for this year? Come on and write your comments down below. I'm sure the discussion is going to be really interesting. And this is it for today's episode. As a final comment, take a few seconds to like, subscribe and enable notifications. You can also look and follow me on my social media as well. Take care and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.